My lady Tequila.
What's going on? How you doing?
I ain't seen you.
Hey, I know. How you doing?
Oh, good. How you doing?
Good.
Chuck. What up?
Hey, how are you?
Come on in.
Yeah.
Oh, good. You good?
I like the spot, man.
Appreciate it. I thought you ain't been here before.
Nah.
Oh, okay.
Where would you like me to sit?
You
In the
can sit.
background.
You can sit right now. You can sit right now.
Cool. This is so exciting.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing podcasting?
2 years?
2 years? That's
Yeah.
what's up.
Yeah.
What was the aha moment of okay, this is what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stay committed to it.
Stay connected. I was already gonna do it regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Staying with it, yeah. Getting started, the aha moment. When I realized that I had a YouTube channel in 2015, but I've been watching everybody else's YouTube channel. Then I was like, I should have been doing this.
Yeah, gotta do it.
Yeah. And I've been, been watching a lot of people YouTube, and I was like, well, what am I waiting on? So yeah.
Good for you.
What do you think about when you talk to people and they say I've done this or done that because of something I saw on your podcast? Like, doesn't it resonate and be like, okay, this is why I'm doing this?
When I talk to other people?
Yeah, when you run into people and they be like, I saw this on your podcast, like that helped me.
Okay. Huh?
When they say, oh, this helped me because I saw this on your podcast, like that.
How does that?
Like resonate with your vision.
Oh, how does it resonate when I talk to other people?
Yeah.
It really I don't know. I like people's stories.
Yeah.
Impel forward. Impel means to drive, force, or urge someone to do something.
That's right.
So when I hear other people's stories and how they went through what they went through and changed, my story. So yeah. Put this on there.
What's up?
Look. Put them right here. Put it turn other way, upside down. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
We already recorded.
We already going, huh?
Yeah, we already recorded.
All right,
Hold on. Let me grab something real quick. Make sure everybody's phone on silent.
Yes, sir.
Nico.
Did Charles tell you he started like Z&Z Beauty Supply?
You tell me that hustle.
There's a lot she don't know about.
What's going on?
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, look, I don't even know where to get started at.
We got a lot we can talk about.
Yeah.
For sure.
But first, welcome to another episode of the Impel Forward Podcast. I'm your host, Leon. And today I had to do this live in the studio. I had to do this one live in the studio. This is real personal. I mean,
It is.
I've been cutting Charles' hair since he was in high school.
Yeah, 10th grade. Man.
10th grade.
15 years old. Yeah.
15 years old. And a lot of times, no matter how serious a situation may be, me and Charles, we joke about everything.
Gotcha.
We get a laugh out of something. All the time we get a laugh out of everything. And I just wanted to do this live in person in the studio. And he ran for me for a little bit. He ran.
I was running from myself, to be honest, man.
And when he told me everything that was going on, I hit him up. It's been a couple months since we started talking about doing this.
Yeah, it was top of the year, pretty much.
Yeah, and he said he had to get himself together, which I understood that. And we're here. So look, I like to dive right into it because
Let's go.
I haven't said this in a while on my podcast. People have short attention spans. They want to get to the meat of it
Every time. Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm gonna start right there. Just tell me this: you was once a business owner.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, what was it that you did and how you got started in that?
Okay, yeah, sure. So, oddly enough, man, I owned an aquarium store, like a shop where I sold fish, sold the aquariums, the equipment. We did installations. It was down in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I just always had a passion to water, to be honest. You know, now that I've gotten a little older, been through some things and experienced some things, I realized that the water itself, it reminds me of the sea, really. And I always feel like I'm closest to God whenever I'm on the sea or near the sea, because there's not many distractions between, you know, you can get to a point where if you're on, let's say, a cruise, you know, you're looking out and all you see is the water and the sky. There's nothing in between it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really nothing between you and God. So I think that's really what was inside me that led to that passion. And my father, you know, that was the first time I saw like an aquarium, a fish tank, and I was just super intrigued by it. And so, you know, growing up, I just toyed around with them. I wanted to actually go to school, undergrad, and become a marine biologist, you know, but kind of let people talk me out of it, just saying how, you know, it's a very niche and small market, and, you know, it's kind of hit or miss. So if you dedicate that much time and that many resources to it and it doesn't work out, then you may end up, you know, SOL, so to speak. So eventually I went for business administration. Once I graduated, I ended up in Wilmington working with Verizon. And it's just a part-time job. I was working out at the Fort Fisher Aquarium, state-supported aquarium, in the gift shop of all places, plush animals and things of that nature. But that job led to a part-time job at a new store that was opening in Wilmington, North Carolina. And so I began to work there part-time. That went very well, definitely enhanced and increased my passion for the hobby. And, you know, God, in his magnificent ways, you know, he always has a way of kind of aligning you exactly where you need to be and when you need to be there. So the couple that owned that store decided that they wanted to get out of it. And at the time, I was kind of the only one helping. So literally just through his grace and his mercy, I ended up taking over the store. It was it's a major blessing. The business itself, you know, I think if anyone would know, you would, Leon. Sometimes when you mix a passion and a hobby with business, you know, the business aspect tends to win out, and you begin to lose some of that passion for the hobby, which is what kind of happened in this case. But I mean, I ran it successfully for just shy of 10 years, so it was a major blessing for sure.
So what did you go to school for?
Business administration.
Business administration. Well, so that still kind of helped you out.
For sure.
You know, business,
yeah.
you know, you open up business.
It did. I didn't know it at the time.
Right.
I definitely didn't know it at the time. What I did know was that biology and physics had a whole lot of math. And I ain't never been that good with math, so I thought. And then when I began to take a few business courses, everything just made a lot more sense because you're talking money. You know, everybody likes and for the most part knows how to deal with money. So that's initially why I shifted over and changed that major to business administration. But as you said, I also think it was God's way of just aligning me so that He knew that I was going to have the business down the road, and I needed that foundation in order to run it successfully. So it all worked out like it always does.
Yeah, and I asked you that because a lot of people that I know went to college. That's a question I always ask. Like, are you working in your field? Like, what you went to school for?
Yeah.
Some people say no. Some people say yeah. You know,
Right.
A lot of people go to school for different things and they find a different path.
Yeah, I think it's something that you can take out of, you know, whatever your major is or whatever field you end up in. A lot of that stuff translates, you know. So I always encourage people. I know times have changed a little bit now, and some would say that education is not quite as much of a necessity as it once was. But it can never hurt. That's what I say. So. Yeah.
And so you say you own the business for 10 years.
Yeah, just about 10 years.
10 years. Now Charles, let me tell you, I told you I've been cutting his hair since his high school. When Charles moved to Wilmington, he would still come back and get a haircut.
Yeah.
He would come back looking crazy.
Real crazy. You know, there'd be some gaps in there sometimes. But I ain't want nobody to touch my head but you. So,
So we kept in contact, you know, even the times you wasn't coming, you know, just hitting each other up, seeing how each other was doing.
Right.
Now tell me what happened to the end, coming to the end of the business. What happened there?
Yeah, life, man. To be honest, you know, I still feel as though it was a part of just learning and growing. To be honest, I wasn't prepared for that. Mentally, I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared for the responsibilities. I wasn't prepared for the demand. I wasn't prepared for the stress. And in order to cope with it, you jump right into the interview, so I get right into the meat and potatoes. In order to cope with that, I began to self-medicate, to ease the stress. At the time, I thought that it was helping me think more clearly. And I'm sure at times one could argue that, but just like anything else, excess is never good. So alcohol mixed with, whatever else I decided to dabble in began to slowly but surely affect, my decision-making skills, my priorities for sure. And it just got to a point where I basically had to decide if I wanted to save or keep the business afloat or save and keep my life, So I made the decision to go to rehab, which really put a damper on the business because I just wasn't present, and I wasn't prepared. It was kind of like almost like an overnight thing. So I hadn't really put things in place to compensate for my absence. And this was also right after COVID, right after COVID as well. So we had been, what do they call it, curbside only for months at that point, which also definitely affected the business because it's kind of hard to sell somebody a fish when you're holding it up through the window. This one, it's kind of difficult to do that. So the combination of a lot of things just kind of led me to let it go. Sure.
So do you think the stress of the business led you to alcohol, or was it something else?
I thought it played a part for sure. There were definitely more deeply rooted issues, a lot of trauma, past and childhood trauma that, I didn't forget, but it was kind of out of sight, out of mind. And just to be honest, it was some of those things that even when it does cross your mind, you don't really want to think about it. So you don't give it the respect for the power that it really does have over you. So I chose to self-medicate as opposed to trying to heal and get through that trauma.
Now you give God a lot of credit.
All the credit.
I hear you talk about that a lot.
Yeah, all of it.
Tell me more about that. How does that help you?
It really, really and truly is everything. Come on, Leon. Yeah, it's everything. I tell everybody, man, I've grown up in a Christian household. Christianity, to be specific, has always been pushed, So I always felt like I had a really good relationship with God. When people would ask me, I say, yeah, I got a joke where I say we on like a first name basis. I got it from my uncle. I call him God, he called me CJ, so yeah, we tight.
Right.
But what I didn't know was I was kind of taking him for granted. I liked him. I liked God a lot. Maybe I loved him, but I didn't need him. I felt like I didn't need him. I didn't rely on him as though I needed him. I didn't consult him as though I needed him. And it's one of those things that sometimes, life just has to teach you those lessons the only way it knows how. I wouldn't listen to anything outside of pretty much being pinned in a corner and forced to sit down and receive whatever, in this case, the healing that he had desperately been trying to give me. So yeah, I say all that just again to come back and say it's everything, man.
Right.
It's absolutely everything. It's peace, it's security, it's confidence, it's courage, it's humility, it's everything. Yeah.
Now you hit on something. You grew up in a 2-parent household.
I did.
Your mom, a prominent judge.
That's right. That's right.
I don't think I've ever met your mom in person, but your dad, Chuck Senior, Sean Senior,
smooth operator.
Him and your brother.
Yeah.
Now, how was this? When did they know you was having this problem?
I would say, they always knew that I drank. They always, when I say always, in my adult years,
right.
once I was grown. So they'll say my mama definitely say I'm still not grown, but they knew that I enjoyed to indulge, basically. I don't think that they realized the extent of the issue until COVID, really. Until COVID. And I kind of gotten to a point then where, because I did a great job, I thought I was doing a great job of kind of masking it and hiding it. I would let people see what I was comfortable with them seeing while still trying to maintain the image that I felt like I had. But around that time, it was so much. It was like a whirlwind. It was so much going on. I really didn't care
Right.
who knew what was going on. So they definitely got a chance to see a completely different side of me, which some of the people closer to me were already familiar with. So
now, did you go to them and tell them about what was going on? Or you said they noticed it, or
again, some of the people close, like my brother, Tori, Tori. He and I had tons and tons of conversations about it, and I think to this day I won't know for sure, but I think it was more of a matter of people that were closer to me than they were, seeing how big of an issue it was, and just throwing them some subtle hints, which in turn I think caused them to keep a closer eye on it, come down, maybe pop up at the crib, unannounced,
right.
and so I think that they more so were surprised by it, kind of walked in on it. It wasn't like a phone call where I just called and say, hey, I need help. No, when it came to rehab, then I did make the phone call to let them know, something got to change.
Right. We're going to take a pause right now. No, we're going to keep recording, but look, I want to do this right here. We're going to move these microphones right here to make sure we get our sound right.
Sure.
And while we're doing that, make sure you go to impel4merch.com. Impel4merch.com. Check out the merch that we have on sale.
A nice tracksuit.
Yes. So I did notice the times you would come back. You had gained a lot of weight.
Yeah.
You had gained a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Tell me I know drinking what they call calories is I forgot the calories how they call it, but you think that played a part in you gaining a lot of weight?
For sure. It played a huge part, man. And towards the end, it had gotten to the point where I was drinking so much, Leon, I would barely eat, man. Like I would go days and not eat because I was always so full. And everybody laugh about this, but my drink of choice was White Claws, which
I don't know what it is.
It's like it's typically reserved for like maybe like a valley woman, to be honest.
Right.
That's how people look at it. It's like a light beer, so it's
right.
almost like a diet beer.
Okay.
But I thought I was being smart, well, I still want to drink, but I don't really want to get any bigger.
So you thought you were going to get slimmer?
I thought I was going to get slimmer, man, but it don't work if you're drinking 3 times as many,
right.
to get where you're going. So, but to answer your question, that certainly played a part. And it played a part in like so much of my health that I didn't realize then. Like, I know you remember having to put your gloves on, to cut my hair because I was always sweating so much. Yeah. Just things like that. I wasn't breathing well. Things that I just didn't realize were happening, but they were a direct result of the drinking for sure. So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when you first, I don't know if your dad told me or you told me that you was going to rehab. I was like, Charlie didn't tell me nothing about this, like what was going on. Because we used to talk, he used to ask me about health questions, working out. When I was doing Herbalife, we used to, chat back and forth about working out and exercising. And you used to joke about losing weight. And I didn't know that you was going through your situation until you was on your way. You called me and you was like, I'm on my way to rehab.
Yeah, man.
And I was cutting somebody's head. I'm like, man, what's going on? It kind of, got to me a little bit because, I would have wanted you to talk to me about that more.
And see that?
Me and you, we talk, So
that's one reason. That's one of the main reasons that I want to do things like this, like have these sit downs. I want to start like a nonprofit that will offer a safe space for people to have those conversations right there. Because a lot of times, by the time that someone makes up in their own mind, if they're fortunate and blessed enough to do it before it's too late, that it's time for help. Like so much damage has been done when there are so many opportunities to, maybe see an interview like this or just come to get their hair cut by you and talk to you. Because I'm sure had I had that conversation with you, it probably would have changed my mindset a lot earlier. And maybe I don't get to the point that I did. So I definitely think the conversations like these are important. I know we don't have them nearly enough, at least in this community. We certainly don't. It's almost like, I joke, it's not a joke, but people think that they'll be looked at crazy
Mm-hmm.
if they express what they're going through and that they want to seek help. But once you get over to the other side, you realize first they was already looking at you crazy.
Right.
They probably looking at you crazier in your battle or your addiction. So, there's nothing wrong. We all go through things. It may be a different walk. It may be a different challenge or battle for each person. And sometimes it's the exact same one. So I want to have a much more open line of communication so that we can try to prevent things like this.
Yeah, because after you had came back and came from the what they call the place where you go.
So it's called a rehabilitation facility or
Okay.
rehab. I prefer to refer to it as a sanctuary.
Sanctuary.
Now. Yeah,
Okay.
for
Yeah,
sure.
because when you came back from that, I was like, man, you need to talk. Let's talk. No grass and eat. But was you not ready to talk to me then?
I wasn't. So and I forgive me. Sometimes my memory, I'll lose it from time to time. I don't remember. So I went to rehab twice. I ended up having to go twice. So I think that time was my initial. The initial time that I went to rehab, and no, I wasn't ready at all.
Yeah. No, I think it was about the second time because you was gone for. I think you had came back, and I was like, man, let's go talk, sit down, this and that. Yeah, this was when I was trying to get you on the podcast.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, let's talk. I said, don't forget the podcast. Me, go talk. Sit down.
Leon, at that point, I was feeling like, I wanted to share the story, and I wanted to help, but I didn't want. I didn't feel that as though I was ready to present myself. I didn't.
I ain't talking about the podcast. I'm talking me and you. Just go sit down.
I was just a little scared of you.
I was a little scared of you. That's all. Yeah, I just want to go talk.
I still get afraid to cancel appointments. I asked Nico.
Yeah. Because that wasn't at that time it wasn't even about coming on the podcast. I just wanted to make sure you was doing good.
You get to a point where you get a little embarrassed. Especially with people that are close to you and that know you. They know your family and everything. So you kind of want to get yourself together, so to speak. But the danger in that is, so much can happen in between that time and you getting yourself together.
Right.
You should probably just go ahead and swallow. It's pride, really, man, is what it is. It was pride that kept me from coming in here. It was pride that kept me from doing a lot of things, man, which is, I see the beauty in every struggle. And with this one, for sure, it's taught me so much humility, man. Just flat out humility, man. It just changes everything. It elevates everything in your life when you approach it from a humble standpoint.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. I was like, maybe Charles don't want me to see him like that. I said, I'm like, this does. I ain't judging. We all, like you said, we all go through something.
Right.
But is it hard maintaining sobriety?
Yeah, I won't lie. It's difficult. It's difficult, but it's only as difficult as you allow it to be. It's like working out, man. Working out is difficult when you're kind of fighting. When you're working out because you want to look nice and not because you need to work out. It's healthy. There's a greater purpose for it. It's the same with sobriety. If you're sober because you want to save your marriage or your business or to make your mama happy, it's gonna be real difficult. It's gonna be extremely difficult.
Right.
If you're sober and you're trying to remain sober because you want to live and because you want that peace, it's not so bad.
Right.
It's not so bad. Yeah.
But one thing I am proud of, you finally started working out.
Yeah.
You finally started working out.
Sure,
We was finally able to get a session in.
We got one. We're going to get some more, too. I wasn't running from you this time, man. Just got a little busy. But
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm glad to see you in there. You posting and flexing now. Posting and flexing now.
Just inspiration, man. Inspiration, man.
So what besides working out, what other things you do to stay awake?
Yeah. I think that having a schedule is important. It's really important. It's an old saying that an idle mind is the devil's playing ground, and that's the truth. So I try to stay as busy as I can, be it working, be it working out. I spend a lot of time on my personal relationship with the Creator, just being honest with God, with Jesus. So I do a lot of praying, I do a lot of reading, I do a lot of meditating. I do yoga, which is I never thought I would get into
yoga.
Yeah. Just focusing on protecting integrity and my peace, man. Whatever that looks like that day, and it can be different each day. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Just trying my best not to, not to overthink things, not to sit still for too long. Definitely had to change a lot of my my environments. There's certain places I won't say that I can't go. I just know it's not a good idea. Certain things that I don't do anymore. Not that the places and the things in themselves are not necessarily an issue, but it can open a door to so much more. So just being very intentional and mindful of where I am and what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's you always have to do that. You always have to do that. So tell me, what was the most difficult part about the recovery process?
But the most difficult part, I would say, is it would have to be the detoxing, for sure, because you're already struggling, mentally. That's why you're doing whatever it is you're doing in the first place, and typically emotionally as well.
Right.
And it can get to a point, and this is just my perspective, so I can really only speak on like the alcohol side of it. There's also narcotic issues as well. I can't really speak on their journey and their process as much. But with alcohol, man, it'll get to a point where it just becomes such a cycle. So for me, I would literally drink all day long, into the night as well. And even on the days where I would like to get up and start fresh, your body at that point is so depleted. And there's only really two options to feel better. You either got to man up and show some discipline, and you got to go through that detox, or you go start drinking again, and it doesn't flush your body out, but it removes that uneasy physical ailment that you're dealing with. So that's how a lot of people get caught into that cycle. A lot of times they really didn't plan on starting the day with 2 tall cans of beer, but they couldn't. Physically they felt as though we can't get through it without it. The catch to that is once you have those 2, because we all said, I'm gonna just get 2, knock the edge off, and then I'll go on about but once you get that second one or whatever number it is for you, now your mind has changed, and you're not thinking about going through the day normal anymore because you're a little buzzed now. So 2 is the same as 10 to an alcoholic for sure.
So when did you know that you had that problem? Like what?
I think I knew when I no longer cared that others knew. That's when I knew I had a problem. When I began to prioritize alcohol over everything and anything. One of my favorite sayings is addiction is giving up everything for one thing. Recovery is giving up that one thing for everything. And it's just that simple. When you're at the abyss of your addiction, I won't say nothing else matters, but nothing else is more important than you getting another hit, another drink, or of whatever substance it is that you're looking for. And none of us were designed or created to think that way or to operate that way. So once I noticed that, once I noticed, relationships beginning to fall apart, and at first it's easy to just, they tripping, I'm grown, I can do it. But after a while, man, if 20 people are upset with you and not speaking to you, and you kind of the only common denominator, you got to do like some inner work and look at yourself and say, oh, this might be me this time, accountability, man. But yeah, I would say that's when I really realized it. And I just realized I wasn't me. I was no longer myself. I didn't act the same. I didn't look the same. I didn't think the same. I knew it was an issue there.
Right. Now you finally jumped on a live the other night on Facebook. Your first one. And then one part you said something about a community. Now, do you have a community around here now? Or are you trying to put one together?
Yeah, so I've been searching, and I don't want that to be taken out of context. I'm sure that there are amazing communities and AA groups and NA groups in the area, but they're not just as simple as you just walk in. Oh, it's an AA group. This is gonna be great. The healing is there. It is, but it's almost like finding a church home. You know, I would definitely equate it to finding a church home. Like, it has to resonate with you in order for it to truly engage you. And I haven't found that here yet. So I said that on the live, not to down or to bash the community in any way that is here. More so just to say, you know, what else is out? Like, what I've tried hasn't really been for me. It's been great. They're amazing people. It just hasn't been for me. In Wilmington, I found one that was just amazing. Wilmington Intergroup. But and to get back to your question, I would absolutely like to, and I will bring that here to this community as well, because I think that at this point, I feel like I'm comfortable enough to get to know the people that I would be dealing with on a level to where I can tailor fit it to their needs. Yeah, because it's different for everybody, man. Mm-hmm. You know, it's really different for everybody. So yeah, I definitely look forward to doing that. And it's my community. You know, I grew up here, so I know the people here more than I do anywhere else. So yeah, and I just feel that calling. You know. Yeah.
Now I know a couple of little people that you talk about all the time. We used to talk about all the time.
Okay.
Your nieces.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And I just thought about that while you was talking. How did that affect them? Did they know what was going on with you at the time? Did they ask questions?
I'm sure they did. They range in age so much. So my oldest niece is 26, and then I have my youngest niece who is 10. So I would say that my youngest niece, those two, they probably had an idea. I'm sure they didn't know the extent or really what it meant. I do remember the last time being at the sanctuary. I remember we would get like a call. You could call a 10-minute call one time a week, and it was her birthday. And I called, and you know that it was difficult because she couldn't quite understand why I wasn't there. You know, she just kept asking, you know, where you at? Can't believe you didn't come to my birthday party. You know, so yes, to answer the question, it absolutely, you know, it affected them, even if they didn't know it, because I just wasn't present. But I will say, the time leading up to that, while in the addiction, had much more of an effect on them than, you know, the recovery did by any means. Because I wasn't present. Even if I was physically there, I wasn't present, man. Right. At all. Yeah.
So when you came around, you weren't yourself?
Nah, not one bit, man. I was either drunk or hungover every time somebody saw me. Right. Yeah. Even if they didn't know it, I was.
Right.
Yeah.
So back to your mom and dad. I know when I tell people about my situation, I say that the main thing was me hurting my mom. How did your mom did it? I know she was a judge, so she probably kind of tough, but you still her son.
She wasn't, man.
How did it?
Yeah, you know, that's maybe one of the first times that I know that you know, her emotions are just, they overrode even if you know her. For those of y'all that do know her, you know, as a judge, she's a real deal. You know, very, very stern, very strict. As a mother, in general, very stern, very strict. But it broke her heart, you know. And so I definitely saw her put her wants and maybe what she wanted to say and how she wanted to react to the side. She wanted to save her baby at that point. You know, nothing else really mattered. And my father. Yeah, it definitely affected my father, man, for sure. You know, he's super cool, super chill. And I can probably count on like one hand the amount of times I've seen him, you know, cry or be angry, you know. I saw both of those throughout that. So yeah, for sure.
So besides their support now, who all supports you?
Everybody. Even when they don't know it, everybody support me, man. Seriously, you know, just being able to see people for who they are now, you know, and actually care, see a smile. Like a smile means so much more to me now. You know, I don't take those things for granted anymore, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I know you said that sometimes it's kind of hard not to go back. What triggers you to maybe think that might
like a relapse?
Yeah.
I mean, you nailed it. Everybody has triggers for sure. For me specifically, I think the environment plays probably the largest part. And now, what's wild about that is, you know, when I say that, a lot of people assume that I mean I don't go to bars or I can't go to the club. Those aren't the environments that can get you. It's the ones that you're more used to. So for me, it could be just walking into a gas station, man. You know, I got to use the bathroom, so I run in the gas station and I'm walking right past, you know, the beer aisle. And I'm so used to, like, for a couple months, man, I would almost subconsciously, physically walk and grab it, like not thinking about it, but because I was so used to doing that. And this is just my opinion. Alcohol is probably one of the most difficult strongholds to break because it's everywhere. It's so easily accessible. It's advertised and promoted. Like I'm not sure if I know anything that gets more promotion time than alcohol does. I mean, from a TV commercial. I don't know if people still listen to the radio, but I'm sure they have radio commercials. Or you can just be driving to work and it's an 18-wheeler, you know, with frosty, crispy, delicious-looking White Claws all down the side of it. You know? And it seems so innocent, but for somebody who's in the middle of, you know, trying to break that chain, you know, something that simple could be the very thing that causes them to relapse. So, but triggers can be anything. It can be. Sometimes people are triggered by people, you know. You may have, which that gets really deep. You may have someone in your circle, you know, that, of course you love them, but maybe, you know, maybe they're not good for you in that moment because it could just cause you to, you know, think back to those times. Maybe they're still actively, you know, using whatever that substance is. So you just kind of have to be very aware and cognizant of your surroundings and your environment at all times. Because again, like the smallest trigger could be the one that'll get you in. But that's also why I think it's so important to, you know, always stay prayed up, you know, stay in touch with whatever it is that you submit to and that you believe in, and just try to. That's where integrity really comes in, and integrity will save you every time. You know, every time integrity will save you. Yeah.
And you can't go back because you're in the best shape of your life right now.
Yeah, no, I can't, man. That's it, man. That's it. I was just saying on the live, it's about to get hot out here. Yeah, for sure.
So what dreams or goals do you have?
Right now, man, you know, I'm just kind of getting out of that. Well, you always take things a day at a time. I'm finally starting to get past that and to look deeper into the future. So the first thing for sure would be bringing that more community-friendly, sober environment here to the community. I'm also looking into. I will be going back to school to. I'm going to get my master's in psychology, and I want to get into counseling, into alcohol counseling. Honestly, I met I didn't even know they existed at the time, but an alcohol counselor back when I was in Wilmington, who they're typically only used for, like, if you get a DUI or a DWI, they may send you to this specific form of counseling. It's more of like a checkoff list to show that you're putting forth the effort. And generally speaking, you have to have that in order to be seen by them. I ran across this particular counselor who decided to still see me, although I was blessed enough to never run into any issues with the law. And the way that she was able to address me and, you know, just get across to me, it impressed me and it helped me so much that I want to be able to do the same for someone else, for sure.
So are you starting to look at what it takes to do that? Have you started that yet?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, you can be certified. You know, I think to become just a certified alcohol counselor, it's about a 2-year program. However, if you get like a bachelor or a master's in psychology, it just opens you up to many more options as to who you will be counseling. So if I was just an alcohol certified counselor, you know, I may end up in a position where you might come in and you want to see me, but I can't work with you because I'm not qualified, and you know, to provide that service.
Okay. Have you talked to? Well, I know you've talked to Dion.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I talked to Dion for sure. He's doing amazing things too. Shout out Dion. For sure. Bull City. You still got the Bull City stuff.
Shout out. Yeah. How has he been a help to you?
man, he's been such an inspiration, man. You know, Dion been such an inspiration. He to see, you know, there were times where I would have to look and say, man, you know, he doing all right for himself. You know, he made me look at that bottle a little different sometimes, or can, whatever it was.
Right.
But no, Dion, you know Dion, man, he's a very genuine and authentic person. Always gave me the most sound advice that he could.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were certainly times where he couldn't, and to be honest, no one could really give me any advice.
Right.
You know, but yeah, he's been great, man. Seeing his success, seeing the way he committed and dedicated himself to what he was looking to accomplish, and of course, seeing him accomplish it. You know, it's been, I would say, inspiration would be the word I would use for Dion, which is strange because we're peers.
Yeah, that's why I figured out, like, maybe you seeing Dion what he's doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Did he inspire you? Did he make you feel a certain type of way? Like, did you feel a certain type of way yourself? Like, man, I'm doing this. I'm going through this. Dion's doing this.
Yeah, you know, there were times. It never made me feel bad that he had and was doing.
No, not him per se, but you yourself make yourself feel bad about it.
Yeah. It made me want to tighten up.
Yeah, tighten up. That's what
I had to shake that off me before I could actually do so.
Right.
For sure, man. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you need people like that around you, man.
Oh, yeah.
You definitely need people that are going to elevate you. You are who you hang with, really.
Right.
And it's true. I didn't see that for years and years and years. Yeah. And that's not to say that, you know, I'm not better than anyone. I don't think anyone is better than anyone. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not saying that, you know, if you're at a level that's maybe considered a little higher than one of your homeboys, don't stop hanging with him, but try to elevate him. Maybe you are the person in that room that is the elevator. And then that can always change, you know. So that's not to say that, you can't be around. Man, they're just negative. They're just negative. If they are actually pulling you down and intentionally pulling you down, then you may need to remove them at least until that season is over. Right. But just somebody in the equation needs to be elevating. Is what I'm trying to get to. Yeah. Y'all both can't be sitting there.
Right.
Just struggling.
And speaking of elevating, being that you're in the gym now, I've been working out since I was 15 years old.
I can see.
I'm 48 now.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the point where I'm getting lazy in the gym.
Yeah. I had to push you a little bit.
Yeah. So I need you to elevate me more in the gym now because I'm getting lazy. I'm getting lazy.
Yeah. And that goes back to what I was just saying. You know, for the longest you elevated me, even though I was too lazy to do it at the time. You were. So now to hear you say that, and I feel it like, cause man, I'm on fire right now.
You're on fire.
You powered up.
You running like I used to run. I used to run 5 miles probably twice a day.
I
see you on the treadmill. I'm like, man.
Leon, sometimes I'm sitting there, man. I already ran that morning, and I'm just sitting there relaxing or whatever. I'm going again. I still got something in here.
And see, I'm at the point now. I'm going to the gym. I'm like, dang, I don't feel like doing that. I don't have no routines. I don't have nothing. And that was one of my reasons I hate you. Like, let's get
We're gonna get it back going too, man. We definitely gonna get it back going. But man, fitness. I put them in order, man. Like spirituality, God, number one for sure. Changed everything for me.
Right.
Changed everything for me. And I just want to keep emphasizing that it wasn't that I didn't know him before. I knew him, but I wasn't at one with it, man. I didn't know quite how powerful he was, and what he was willing to do for me and for everybody, for anybody. But then, I got to be honest, a second was probably going to be fitness, man. Fitness has just been, to use the term again, it's been a sanctuary for me, man. Right. It's been a sanctuary for sure. And it's really just like a friend's benefit that you see the results.
Oh yeah. Once you start seeing the results,
it's on in. You roll. Snowball effect at that point on me. Yeah.
So you already told me what's next. What will you leave somebody or tell somebody who's going through the situation you went through with alcoholism and the steps to take to get better or what they need to do? What would you leave somebody with?
The first thing I would say, man, truly would be seek therapy first. That's probably the first thing that I would do, because you have to address that underlying issue. For me, it was childhood trauma. It was. Along with many other things, but that was the one thing that it took probably 2 years of therapy, rehab visits to finally get out of me, because I didn't know it. Like, I mean, I knew it was there, but I didn't know that was like, this is what been doing this the entire time. When I was able to address that, to speak it, Leon, the amount of weight and anger and resentment and just negativity that God just instantly removed. I really can't. I almost can't put it into words. Like, you got to figure out what that is for you. You know, start there for sure, and then make up in your mind that that you can't drink anymore. You just can't. It's not like, don't. Some people can go into it and they want to just control it. You can't. If you're an alcoholic, you can't control that monster. It's either you starve it to death, or it's always gonna lie. Like, it's always gonna be right there. So you don't just get that thought out of your mind. You're not drinking again. Right. Because you're always gonna be an alcoholic after that point. Now, you can be a recovering alcoholic, or you can just be a wino. Right. I hate to put it that way, but it's the truth. It sounds harsh, but those are your only two options at that point. Yeah.
And I'm going to push you to keep doing your lives on Facebook, because you can start right there. Yeah. I know you say you want to go into it, get your classes and with your masters and helping other people, but you can help people just like you was doing the other day on Facebook. Just
for sure.
Keep going live and helping others out. Yeah.
I kind of like it that way too, man. It's more. I feel like it's more authentic. I mean, we gotta make a living too. We gotta eat. We gotta eat. Yeah. So I think that's more so the aspect of getting the masters and being able to offer more of a professional service. But I enjoy the most. I enjoy touching the people that don't need any of that. Right. I want to be raw with you. Like, yeah, let's talk. Right. What's to you? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people won't feel comfortable. They probably initially won't even feel comfortable speaking to me about it, but they're definitely not trying to go into an office full of a lot of people that don't look anything like them and bear their truth like that, But those people matter just as much as the ones that do. So there needs to be like a median there, someone that they feel comfortable speaking to until they get to the point that they're ready to go and seek help, be it a program and there's a lot of tools and resources out there. Like, you don't have to go to rehab. Everybody does it, and it's not for everybody. It can never hurt. I'll say that it can never hurt. But maybe you just need to go to a couple AA meetings a week or a month or a day. It's different for everyone. But the most important thing is to just continue to seek the help. It's like anything else. As long as you're seeking it, eventually it's gonna find you. Yeah.
Now, you said something earlier. I know you have AA. Is it AA?
Alcoholics.
Yeah, AA counselors. Do you have a counselor aside from AA? Just
me personally?
Therapist? Yeah.
Yes. Because I mean, you could be fortunate enough to have a therapist or a counselor that can do both. But generally speaking, the AA counselors are going to be more like by the book, and they're going to be really focused, of course, on the alcohol. But again, that goes back. The alcohol, in my opinion, is more of a byproduct of something mentally or emotionally that's bothering you. That's where shrink, so to speak.
That's why I asked it.
Yeah. So, and there's nothing wrong with it either. Man, I wish I could just dead that. Like, there's nothing wrong. It's not bad.
Did you think so at first?
Yep.
I can tell you
on me. I wasn't really telling nobody at first. I was going, and man, I would go, and sometimes people would ask me, "Where you been?" Oh, just had to go handle some business, Right. But that was, again, that was me just almost lying to myself, man. Doing it initially just because people told me that that's what I should do, or that it'll help, or in some cases, man, like there were times where I'm supposed to be going to these AA meetings, and this is how deep the addiction can drag you and can pull you. And I would go, Leon. I would go, and at the time, someone had my location that And I would go and I'd sit in the parking lot, turn the car off, reach on in the back seat, pull out the beer, drink, wait for the meeting to be over, go right back home and just.
Oh, so you wouldn't go in the meeting?
I ain't going to meeting. That wasn't the question that they would ask me. Did you go there? Yes, I went. But that's where being honest with yourself comes into play. Because at that point, I'm just wasting time.
Right.
There's no point in me even being there. I might as well I'm not going to this meeting because you're not gonna get anything in the parking lot.
Right.
Definitely drinking. So you just got to be honest with yourself and do it for you. Again, I was doing that for other people. I wasn't doing it for me. I didn't care about it. Right. But when you begin to care about it yourself, you get on out the car and you walk in there and you do what you need to do.
Right. And you know, open up another. I was about to end it. So how many times did you do that?
A lot. Yeah, a lot. Like I said, it took me a while to really get serious, man.
Okay.
It did.
Where you here now?
That's right. On me. Yeah. To stay too.
And now we finally had this conversation, so ain't no more running.
No. Yeah, we locked in now.
Ain't no more running. Call
Tuesday, right? Tuesday, 8 o'clock.
Oh, that too.
Yeah.
No, yeah, they ought to. Nah, it's
almost, we'll
almost
bounce back
yeah.
next week. Yeah, I know you're gonna eat crazy
Yeah.
this week and all that.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I'm glad that we was able to do this.
For sure, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And I know y'all looking at us crazy right now. We're looking like Tyler Perry when he first started with these microphones on our hats. You know how I used to have them out the wigs.
I was looking for my wig when I got here.
Yeah. But this been a great episode, man. And like I said in the beginning, I really wanted to do this one in person. I kind of like. I said, "Dang, should I still do this at home and do it straight?" I said, "No, I got to see Charles in person." Because matter of fact, this may be on our second time seeing each other since we've been back.
Yeah, this is the most recent time. Yeah.
The workout and Wow.
But that's gonna change. All that's gonna change.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it for another episode of the Impel Forward podcast. And remember, seize the opportunity to grasp your dreams.